Picture this, a bustling coffee shop, the smell of roasted beans filling the air. The rich aroma wraps around you like a warm blanket, inviting you to indulge in a moment of calm amidst the city's chaos. You're in line, trying to decide between a latte and a cappuccino. Easy choice, right? Or is it? You weigh the options, considering the creamy texture of a latte versus the bold flavor of a cappuccino. But what if I told you that this simple decision, this seemingly insignificant act of choosing, could hold the key to understanding one of life's biggest mysteries: free will? You see, the act of choosing between two options seems straightforward. Yet, beneath the surface, there's a complex web of influences at play. But what if every decision you've ever made, every path you've ever taken, was predetermined? Imagine walking down a path that was laid out for you long before you even took your first step. What if your choice of coffee was already written in the stars, a product of your genes and your environment, leaving no room for true freedom? Your preferences shaped by your upbringing, your experiences, and even your biology. It's a mind-boggling thought, isn't it? The idea that our choices might not be as free as we think. This idea that we might just be passengers on a predetermined journey. Our choices nothing more than illusions. It challenges our very sense of self and autonomy. But before we dive headfirst into this existential rabbit hole, let's take a step back and define what we even mean by free will. Is it the ability to make choices free from external constraints? Or is it something deeper, a fundamental aspect of our humanity that allows us to shape our own destinies? Philosophers have debated this for centuries, pondering whether our actions are determined by a chain of prior events, or if we possess the genuine ability to choose. As you sip your coffee and reflect on your own life, consider the moments where you felt truly free. Were those moments of freedom real, or were they just part of a grander design? Time continues to tick away, and with each passing second, we make countless decisions, big and small, each choice a thread in the intricate tapestry of our lives. So the next time you're in a coffee shop pondering your drink order, remember that this simple act might just be a window into the profound mystery of free will. In a nutshell, free will is the ability to make choices that are truly our own. Choices that aren't predetermined by our past or influenced by external forces. It's the notion that we have the autonomy to decide our actions, independent of any pre-existing conditions or external pressures. It's the power to choose between different paths, to shape our own destiny. Imagine standing at a crossroads with multiple paths stretching out before you. Each path represents a different choice, a different future. The ability to choose one path over another is what we often refer to as free will. Think of it like this. You're holding a game controller and you have the power to make your character move left or right, jump or duck. In this scenario, you are the player, and the game represents life. The choices you make in the game determine the outcome, just as the choices you make in life shape your future. Free will is like having that controller in the game of life, the ability to make choices that determine the course of our actions. It's the sense of agency that allows us to feel in control of our destiny, to believe that we are the authors of our own stories. But here's the catch. Just because we feel like we're in control, just because we experience the sensation of making choices, doesn't necessarily mean that free will is real. Our brains are complex, and the processes that lead to decision-making are not fully understood. Sometimes, what we perceive as a conscious choice might be influenced by subconscious factors. It could all be a clever illusion, a trick of the mind. Our brains are wired to create a coherent narrative of our experiences, and this might include the illusion of free will. The firing of neurons, the chemical reactions, and the electrical impulses in our brains all play a role in shaping our decisions, often without us even realizing it. So, how do we know for sure if we're truly free or just puppets dancing on the strings of fate? This question has puzzled philosophers, scientists, and thinkers for centuries. Are we merely responding to a series of predetermined events, or do we genuinely have the power to influence our own lives? Well, that's where things get a little more complicated. The debate over free will versus determinism is ongoing, with compelling arguments on both sides. Some believe that every action is the result of prior causes, while others argue that we have the capacity to make independent choices. The truth might lie somewhere in between, a blend of both free will and determinism shaping the intricate tapestry of our lives.
For centuries, philosophers have been grappling with the concept of free will, debating its existence and implications. This debate has spanned across cultures and epochs, from the ancient Greeks to modern-day thinkers. The question of whether we are truly free to make our own choices, or if our actions are determined by a series of prior events, has intrigued and perplexed some of the greatest minds in history. Some, like the determinists, believe that every event, including our choices, is predetermined by prior causes. They argue that the universe operates on a cause and effect principle where every action is the result of a preceding event. According to this view, our sense of making free choices is merely an illusion, as everything we do is the inevitable outcome of a long chain of events. They argue that our actions are simply the inevitable consequences of a chain reaction that stretches back to the beginning of time. This perspective suggests that our lives are like a complex web of interconnected events, where each decision is a link in an unbreakable chain. The determinists believe that understanding this chain can help us predict future actions and outcomes with a high degree of certainty.
Others, like the libertarians, staunchly defend the existence of free will. They argue that we are not merely puppets controlled by external forces, but rather autonomous agents capable of making independent choices. Libertarians believe that free will is a fundamental aspect of human nature, allowing us to shape our own destinies and take responsibility for our actions. They argue that we have an inherent ability to make choices that are not causally determined, choices that spring from our own free volition. This perspective emphasizes the importance of personal agency and moral responsibility, suggesting that we are the authors of our own lives. Libertarians often point to moments of genuine decision-making as evidence of our capacity for free will.
And then there are those who fall somewhere in between, like the compatibilists, who believe that free will and determinism can coexist. Compatibilists argue that even if our choices are influenced by external factors, we can still be considered free as long as our actions are in line with our desires and beliefs. This view seeks to reconcile the apparent conflict between determinism and free will by suggesting that freedom is compatible with a determined universe. They argue that even if our choices are influenced by external factors, we can still be considered free as long as our actions are in line with our desires and beliefs. Compatibilists believe that true freedom lies in the ability to act according to one's own motivations and goals, even if those motivations are shaped by prior events. This nuanced perspective offers a middle ground in the age-old debate, suggesting that we can be both determined and free in a meaningful sense.
Okay, enough with the philosophy lectures. Let's bring this down to earth with some real-life examples.
Imagine a student faced with the choice of cheating on an exam or studying hard and risking a lower grade. Do they have the free will to choose the ethical path, even if it means potentially jeopardizing their academic standing?
Or consider a person struggling with addiction. Are they free to break free from their dependence, or are their choices constrained by their biological and psychological makeup? These examples highlight the complexities of free will, the interplay between our desires, our environment, and the choices we make. They force us to confront the limits of our freedom and the factors that shape our actions. Section 5, Free Will, Fact or Fiction? So, where do we stand on the great debate of free will? Is it a fundamental aspect of our being, or a comforting illusion that gives us a sense of control in a chaotic world? The truth is, there's no easy answer.
Science hasn't definitively proven or disproven the existence of free will. Some studies suggest that our brains make decisions before we're even consciously aware of them, casting doubt on the idea of conscious choice. But even if our choices are influenced by unconscious processes, does that necessarily negate free will? Could it be that our conscious minds still have a role to play, even if it's just a small one?
Section 6. The Mystery of Choice. The mystery of choice lies at the heart of the free will debate. When we make a decision, do we truly have multiple options available to us, or is there only ever one predetermined outcome? If our choices are predetermined, then the concept of moral responsibility becomes tricky. Can we truly be held accountable for our actions if we were never truly free to choose otherwise? But if we do have free will, if we are the authors of our own choices, then we must also accept the weight of responsibility that comes with that freedom. Section 7. The weight of freedom. The idea of free will is both exhilarating and terrifying. On the one hand, it empowers us, reminding us that we have the ability to shape our own destiny. It allows us to believe in the possibility of change, of growth, of redemption. But on the other hand, it burdens us with the weight of responsibility. If our choices truly matter, if they have the power to shape not only our own lives, but also the lives of those around us, then we must choose wisely. The weight of freedom can be heavy, but it's a burden we must bear if we are to live authentically and create a meaningful existence. Section 8. The illusion of control. Despite the allure of free will, there's a part of us that can't shake the feeling that we might be clinging to an illusion of control. The world is a complex and chaotic place, and sometimes it feels like we're just along for the ride. We make plans, set goals, and strive to create the life we envision. But then life throws us a curveball, reminding us that we're not always in the driver's seat. But perhaps that's okay. Perhaps letting go of the need for absolute control is what truly frees us. Section 9. Embracing the unknown. If we can accept that we don't have all the answers, that some things are simply beyond our control, then we can start to embrace the unknown. We can find beauty in the unexpected, wonder in the mysteries that surround us. We can let go of the need to micromanage every aspect of our lives and allow ourselves to be surprised, challenged, and transformed by the journey. Section 10. So are we free? The question of free will is a bit like a cosmic joke, a riddle without a definitive answer. We may never know for sure if our choices are truly our own or if they're part of a grand, predetermined plan. But perhaps that's the beauty of it all. Perhaps the journey is more important than the destination, the act of choosing more meaningful than the choices themselves. So, the next time you're faced with a decision, big or small, take a moment to appreciate the mystery of it all. Embrace the unknown and choose with your whole heart, whether you're guided by free will, fate, or a little bit of both. After all, the universe loves a good mystery, and what's more mysterious than the human capacity for choice? Thank you for joining us on this exploration of free will. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, and subscribe for more thought-provoking content.